My private life is something I don't talk about. I always thought that I was too important because I kind of had a sense early on that it was gonna work.
Mhm.
I just knew, when you know,
Yeah.
I just knew. So I was like, let me be thoughtful about this. Like, if I get like actually, this is like 2006. I'm like, if I get actually famous, like, what is the worry about that? It's like, oh, privacy is valuable. Plus, actually, you know what? That might not even be fully authentic. I am inherently private, which is wild, right? But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think talking about your passions or ideas or business, that feels like public domain. But like my children or my relationships or I don't know,
Yeah.
So I talk about my parents a lot because it's a framework to like stuff, but
Sure.
it's not like I'm telling you like what's going on in their lives or like where like I'm not in reality TV mode. So
Yeah.
that was conscious. Things like politics or religion or things that are a little spicier, I don't talk about them because I don't I don't love to contribute from a place of opinion. I like to come from a place of observation. So if I talk about politics, my observation is that the opposite sides of every issue weaponize fear to get people into a frenzy, and that's it. That's my observation. It's like uncomfortably boring.
Do you recommend other influencers keep certain parts of their lives private as well?
I think people have to reverse engineer their truth, you know? Like I don't have real hunger for fame. If someone has intrinsic deep value and hunger for fame, giving the world your personal life is one of the clear paths. I don't really want to deploy my judgment on someone else's journey.
Sure.
So, no, I don't. I recommend people being self-aware.
What are some of the
I recommend people being self-aware, and I recommend. I just said this earlier, and I saw you picking up on this.
Yeah.
I also recommend people having the ability to change their mind. Like right now, if you're listening right now, be like, yeah, man, I am whoring out my children too much, and I'm starting to see the negatives of that. Like my 4-year-old daughter was like stopped in a park by somebody the other day because I'm doing that. Well, you're allowed to change. People struggle with change. Like that, like this, a lot of the genre of this convo right now, I want people to have the strength to change their mind. Because that really is liberating to allow you to do a lot of
What do you think holds people back from change? Is it fear?
course of judgment from other human beings. Insecurity is the poison that navigates our world.
What are you insecure about?
In my youth, I was insecure about girls rejecting me. Like,
Did you get rejected or something?
No, because back to not doing shit. Like, I didn't ask out a lot of girls in high school and college that I wanted to because I was fearful of the rejection. In a world where, like, I was, like, pretty charismatic and had my game together in a way, like, as you get older, especially because I became a public figure, the amount of, like, when that first started happening, the amount of girls that reach out to me, like, why didn't you ask me out? And I could be grounded in the fact that I don't think they were saying that now because this was even happening, like, not the Gary B you know now.
Yeah.
Like, even when the wine thing happened, which meant nothing to nobody, it was just, like, reconnecting. Like, so that was a part of my life that that was very clear in fear. I feared most basic adolescence things. I feared to ride a bike. I didn't want to skin my knee. I feared swimming. I didn't want to drown. I feared those two things very heavily. But by compare, like I was a late bloomer in a lot of ways that way.
But what are you insecure about now?
Not much. What am I insecure about now? Deep, and this will probably go into territory of things I don't want to share, but like, let me say it this way. I'll say it in a way that I feel comfortable because I want to answer it and not answer it. The number one thing I probably fear now is I want to be as good of a father as I possibly can. And so that's very top of my list. Like, am I achieving that? And I'm scared about things that I haven't been able to get to the place where I wanted to.
What do you think could hold you back from that?
The thing that I've always struggled with historically, it's a wild one. My greatest weakness, my kryptonite, in a world where I was luck of the draw, gifted with a ton of circumstances and a lot of other things, and then put in a lot of work and feel very comfortable in that, was I'm not candorous with people I love. Like, my lack of candor, it blows people away. Like,
That doesn't make sense.
I'll explain. I don't give a what you two think of me. I do not care what anyone who's listening cares. I care very deeply. I care more of what Mike thinks about me than you guys and anybody listening. And he's a young employee in my life. And I care more about what Kaylin, who's worked here for 13 years, feels than Mike. But you start getting into my children and my parents, the more I love you, the more I care about how you feel. And I was raised by a mother who was not candorous, who had such gift of gab and charisma and personality too, that she could just get to the result without making conflict. Got it? I also was raised by a father who was ridiculous with conflict and looked for conflict at every point. So I had two very opposite parents. And I was formed in a way where I viewed candor as creating fear for someone, because I've always had leverage. For most of my life, I have been the financial and emotional leader of my life, meaning me and everybody around me. So when you have leverage and you're deploying candor, there's a lot that comes with that. When you're telling an employee that, bro, you're not good at your job. My brain goes into Mike walks out of here and starts to go to LinkedIn, starts to cry, starts to go do drugs, and I'm going to lose my job. I just created fear. I had to have a very tough chapter in my life about 5 to 7 years ago when I realized this was my kryptonite. And what I was actually doing was creating fear, because people would have to get fired when you're running a company. I would have to break up with girls if I didn't like them anymore. And what people started to understand was they didn't know where they stood with me. And that became the ultimate fear. Very humbling moment in my mid-40s.
And how did you navigate that? And how do you break into just being open and honest with people without creating fear?
All of our vulnerabilities are things we can't see. I'm really fortunate with self-awareness and paying attention, but I couldn't see the candor thing. Once it became obvious to me, both with my employees and some of my personal relationships, I was like, oh, and I'm talking like looking myself in the mirror, brushing my teeth, and looking at my eyes and being like, dude, my inner dialogue is really cool. Like me and me are good, you know? I really just went there. I was like, dude, you suck at this, man. Like, and this is going to ruin your life.
Was there a specific moment that was like a
Yeah, it
wake
was a
up call for you?
combination, you know, not to go in too far, but it was a combination of things going on at work, which I'm comfortable with, which was I love my employees super heavy.
Yeah.
There was just enough employees, and I knew why they were mad at me. They were running around the world being like, all I care about is anyone who knows me to think I'm a decent man. Having employees that were running around the world being like, Gary Vee, was like, this is wrong. The only ones that were saying Gary Vee were people that were consistently underperforming, but I didn't have the ability to over-communicate it and then would pull the rug from underneath them. It was black and white.
Yeah.
On my subjective opinion. Maybe they were performing and I was wrong, but that's, you know, that's the judge and the jury when you own a business, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks. I got to fix that. And then things in my personal life, which I'm less comfortable sharing. But ultimately, I was like, look, I've got to fix this. And it's hard, bro. Like, you're in pretty good shape. I don't know if you've always been or not. I'm in better shape than I've been historically. Like it's work.
Yeah.
Like, I was in Toronto for a board meeting last night. I landed last night at midnight. I was in the gym at 6 a.m. this morning. In the gym, I landed at midnight. In the gym, not working out, having one-on-one basketball coach practice because my son's gotten so good at basketball. I think he's about to beat me one-on-one. And I'm so scared of that I literally had one-on-one basketball practice this morning. And you have to put in the work to be able to be better. And so and I continue to practice candor right now, and I'm still a 5 out of 10. But that jump from 1 to 5 has closed a lot of wounds and vulnerabilities.